Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Silent Hill podcast. I had mentioned at the very beginning of this podcast that I would use it every now and then to talk about other news related to the world of Silent Hill, and such is the case with this news and confirmation that just came out today. So, unfortunately, it's the worst way to talk about Silent Hill because, in this case, it has to do with the official cancellation of the much awaited Silent Hills game that was going to be released, I don't know, sometime this year, sometime next year. We don't know because the problem is this particular game was shrouded in so much mystery that even to this day it remains difficult to ascertain what's what. Like, at what point was it before the actual game was canceled? It's pretty daunting. There's never been an instance like this in the world of Silent Hill in terms of its franchise. I mean, even the second movie, the Silent Hill Revelations, which went through its own hiccups, even it ended up getting made. And in this case, you had a fantastic, well-known director, Guillermo del Toro, working on this. You had a well-known actor, in this case, a huge presence in the Walking Dead franchise, Norman Reedus, who was going to lend his likeness and his voice to this project. And then finally, you had the director of this project, a guy by the name of Hideo Kojima, who was pretty much like the backbone of this game and who a lot of fans were going to say was going to bring back Silent Hills to its roots, to the thing that we all love about Silent Hill, the horror, the psychology, the scares, everything that makes the world so great. You had all these three things lining up at once, and yet it's gone. I mean, it's gone. So there's no chance now that this game is going to be produced. Let me first talk about the history that led to this. There was the announcement a couple of months back that came on board with the sudden release of PT, or playable teaser, and it was only towards the end when all of a sudden people realized and the word Silent Hills came out. Then that was like everybody was thinking, yes, this is another brand new Silent Hill game. And not only that, but the playable teaser was received with such rave reviews. I haven't played it myself, but of course I've seen the walkthrough on YouTube, and it is fantastic. Very, very scary. So if this was what the future Silent Hills game was going to be like, everybody was super stoked. I mean, what better way to introduce it than with that playable teaser that quickly took on a viral status? But then that was it. There was no further word after that. They went through all this trouble to create this playable teaser, and then it was radio silence thereafter. Nothing, not a single blip as far as anything, as far as the Silent Hills game, when it was going to be released, nothing. And then finally we started to get some news to the game, and it was in the worst way possible. Just started this week, or last week, with regards to the news that the playable teaser was going to be removed from its download status. And apparently this is because anybody as a company that plays and makes these things available for download, you got to pay to keep that property up to download. You have to pay, in other words, to have it hosted and to have the ability for others to continue to download it. It ain't free, in other words. And so people were thinking, okay, no big deal. Maybe this is just a chance that this playable teaser has been out for a couple of months. Then people will it'll be removed because it's costing the company money, but we still have Silent Hills coming forth. But then there was that little chance in the back of people's head that the worst suspicions were coming true, that because there was no news at all with regards to this game, Silent Hills, that there was the chance that something was happening with its production. And then there was the now viral tweet that was taken from a statement that Guillermo del Toro gave the other day, and this was with regards to him saying it's not going to happen in terms of the production of the game. A lot of people thought that it had to do with him working with the guy Kojima, and others thought no, it means the overall total Silent Hills game, that it's not going to happen at all. And those that were thinking in the former were thinking, okay, if it's not going to happen with Kojima, then Guillermo will still do it somehow, some way. And then those in the latter were thinking, no, it's done. It's completely shut down. Well, it turns out that they were right, because today, officially, Konami announced that the game has been canceled. This is how they stated. This is their official statement. It says, Konami is committed to new Silent Hill titles However, the embryonic Silent Hills project developed with Guillermo del Toro and featuring the likeness of Norman Reedus will not be continued. So they left it like an open ending of sorts. Obviously, the Silent Hills game is canceled, but as far as future games involving Silent Hill, those are still moving forward, which kind of makes sense because you cannot have a franchise as lucrative and as popular as this to essentially never be made again. Still though, I mean, you have all those three factors that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. You've got a world famous director, you've got an almost world famous actor, and then you've got a guy who's going to essentially be the main backbone of this game, who's much heralded, this Kojima guy, with his past video games. And then on top of that, it has to do with the world of Silent Hill and the almost breakthrough revolutionary playable teaser that was released. You have all of this, and yet at the end of the day, it's canceled. Crazy, crazy stuff. This is the kind of stuff that'll be almost like an urban legend status throughout the years. This particular Silent Hills game will fall into those categories that we'll see a couple of years from now, where it's something along the lines of the best never made type games, or something along the lines of the best games never made. You know what I'm talking about. There's usually always like a top 5 or a top 10 list of these games that GameSpot, IGN, and others make, where they talk about what could have been a breakthrough game but just was essentially canceled for whatever reasons. A lot of times these reasons have to do with financial things. I don't think that was in this case. I think, in my opinion, that this has to do with a lot of egos clashing at the same time. I mean, you've got apparently there's rumors of a huge power struggle between Konami and then that main guy Kojima, with regards to one aspect wanting to go in one direction, another aspect wanting to go in another direction, mixed in another ego as far as Guillermo, who wants to input his own ideas, and then mix in Norman Reedus, who probably has his own ideas as well. I mean, I think it has to do more along the lines with that. Nothing financial, but more along the lines of lots of cooks in the kitchen who can't really decide what direction this thing is going, at least with regards to a full game. Obviously, the teaser was made, and the direction that went was fantastic. But when you're talking about a huge game itself, and so many egos clashing with each other, all of them essentially having to look good at the end of the day, then that's where you can get into problems like this. Crazy, crazy stuff. So bad news, Silent Hill fans, with regards to this game. Who knows? It might get picked up elsewhere. Probably not. Normally when these things are canceled, the ideas go with them. So, and of course we're going to have another Silent Hill game sometime in the future, but nothing probably like this. So if anyone has any other information that they would like to share about this particular thing, please post your comments, share them below. It'd be great to hear if anyone knows any other stories tied to this very bizarre, the way this all imploded. It's very bizarre. So if anyone has anything that they can say, please, it'd be great to hear. Alright everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.